How to be articulate. In this video, I'll be talking about a common problem I've noticed that many people have. The challenge I'm talking about is a difficulty in expressing effectively what we have in mind. You know what you have in mind to say, but when you open your mouth, your thoughts come out differently. It's either what you wanted to say comes out disjointed or it doesn't sound coherent enough. Some of you have been asking me to discuss this topic, and so this is for all of you. Thank you very much for being patient with me. Today I'll be teaching you how to be articulate. Being articulate isn't just about your words. Your body language, gestures, diction, and thoughts process all go on to determine how articulate you sound or not. Being articulate enables you to express your feelings, ideas, and opinions effectively. Articulation is important, whether during a heart-to-heart with your partner or a presentation at work. Communicating your thoughts across won't be a struggle anymore once you know how to speak articulately. Now, let's get down to the main business. Firstly, what does it mean to be articulate? It means being able to make your points using the right words that your listeners can understand and speaking at a pace they can follow easily. Being articulate means being able to speak clearly and coherently so that your listener clearly understands what you say. Ultimately, it is your listeners that could score you as articulate or not. It is important to note that articulation is in context. Your speech that attracted a thunderous ovation from your professional colleagues would make little sense to a group of 9-year-olds unless you break it down to their level. You spoke clearly, but not articulately. They heard you properly, but had no idea what you meant. Your listener is the most important factor to consider during communication. So without further ado, let's discuss the steps that will help you be more articulate. My wonderful Elegance ladies, thank you very much for tuning into my channel once again. For those of you who don't know, my name is Vivian, the founder of Woman of Elegance, which is a platform I've created to help women globally become the most elegant, classy and refined women that they can be. If you haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing to this channel. And if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it among your colleagues and friends. I have pulled up 11 points here, so let's get right into it. Point number 1, find out what needs to be improved. The chances are that you are already a communicator. You might not be an expert yet, but at least you interact verbally with people day after day. Before you start to work on your articulation, you have to do an analysis first. Analyze how your sentences sound. This is like a diagnosis. A physician doesn't just start prescribing medication to you. He first finds out where the problem lies. That's what you'll be doing in this regard. Finding out what makes your speech incomprehensible. Record yourself speaking for about 2 to 5 minutes using the audio or video recorder on your mobile phone. Use your everyday voice by speaking as normally as you would on a good day. Listen to your voice and try to identify what does and what doesn't sound right to you. Do you swallow some parts of your sentences? Do you use long sentences? Are there too many ums and ahs in your speech? Do you speak too fast or too slow, for example? Identifying this will help you know exactly where to focus on improving your speech. You could ask a friend to listen to it too and point out what they think needs to improve. Point number 2, watch your speed. Have you ever listened to someone who rushes their words? I certainly used to. You may just sit there and wonder, why on earth are they rushing? It's likely you may not grasp the sense they're trying to make. Although you don't have to speak at a snail's pace, rushing your words makes you sound very inarticulate. Strike a balance between fast and slow and stay in the middle. If you speak too slowly, you will lose your listener's attention. Speak too quickly and you'll make lots of mistakes and confuse your listeners. While speaking, you may want to slow down or go a little bit faster to buttress your points. For example, you can deliberately slow down to emphasize a serious point, just as you can talk faster to express excitement or passion. Maintain a moderate speed of speech and occasionally adjust your pace to enhance your points. Point number 3, pause at intervals. This is a good trick to help you sound more articulate when speaking. Pause as if you want to take a breath after a couple of sentences. This protects you from sounding breathless and rushed. Pausing is also a very effective tool because it helps you recollect your thoughts and keeps your speech right on track. Pausing also comes in handy when you want to veer off to another point, emphasize a point, or express a feeling. Point number 4, use short sentences. The shorter the sentence, the easier it is to understand. Long sentences are harder to comprehend. They may be appropriate in a written piece, but if your sentences are drawn out and long-winded, they can make what you are trying to convey incoherent. They make you sound out of breath too. Use short sentences to express points, though there is no harm in lacing your speech with a few moderately long sentences to spice it up a little. Point number 5, avoid speaking in monotone. Monotone, that is the root word for monotonous. When you hear the word monotonous, the next word that may come to your mind is boring. Speaking in a single tone without changing your tone here and there is a recipe for incoherent communication. It makes your speech sound flat and uninteresting. Break the monotonous voice if you want to pass your points on articulately. Vary your voice projection, your rhythm and pitch when you speak. Your ability to raise and lower your tone depending on the emotions your words evoke is the key to captivating your audience. When you want to emphasize a point, project your voice a bit forward. Proper intonation makes you sound like an expert. Point number 6, speak to your audience. Who are your listeners? Will they understand your points if you say it this way, or do you need to put your points across another way? Articulation begins with the ability to say what the other person understands. For instance, if you don't understand Arabic, even the speech of the greatest Arabic orator on earth will sound like babble to you. Make sure you and your listeners understand the language you're communicating in. Also, adjusting your choice of words to fit your audience is important if you want them to understand you. Like I said earlier, the way and manner you speak in an office meeting shouldn't be the same way you speak with a class of preschoolers. Use appropriate level vocabulary for your audience. Your pitch and intonation should be tailored to suit your audience too. The following tips are what you can do to ensure your speech is coherent to your audience. Tip 1, use a language that they can relate to. Imagine having a lawyer friend who loves to use elaborate words and jargon whenever they speak. Understanding what they're saying would be such a pain in the neck. Speak the language your listeners understand so that they may be able to follow your points. Pronounce your words as clearly as possible. Don't swallow your words or leave your sentences hanging. Slow down your words if you need to speak a little faster as the case demands. Tip 3, match your tone of voice to the situation at hand. Make it fit the message you intend to pass across. A joke may come out either dry or hilarious depending on your tone of voice. Your tone determines the impression your words create. Tip 4, sync your body language to your spoken words. Your gestures, facial expressions, and body movement should be targeted at buttressing your points. When your body language is not in tandem with your words, your speech can come out confusing. Point number 7, avoid filler words. People tend to use fillers mostly when they're nervous or at a loss of words to capture their thoughts. The solution to avoiding filler words is by improving your vocabulary, building your confidence, recollecting your thoughts before you start speaking, pausing between sentences, and using shorter sentences. Some of us have formed the habit of injecting filler words into every sentence. If you're in the habit of saying words like, you know, you get me, like, and the like, you need to stop. Consciously begin to drop these words from your vocabulary. It won't be easy, but with time, you'll succeed in purging filler words from your speech. Point number 8, enunciate your words clearly. The last sound of a word usually gets lost in many people's speeches. It's very common to hear somebody mumble the last part of their sentences or words. This makes their overall speech sound weak and watery. Ensure you enunciate the final sound of your words or sentences clearly. Pronounce your words accurately, and if you don't know the right pronunciation of a word you want to use, go for another similar word. And this goes on nicely into my next point. Point number 9, round up audibly. Don't trail off. How you conclude your speech is just as important as how you started it. Start articulately in order to capture attention. Finish strongly in order to sustain the conviction. You could deliver a powerful speech only to water it down by rounding up with some inaudible sounds. Ending your speech with a muffled, or I don't know, or I really don't know, it knocks the air off your powerful speech. Of course, not everybody will sound like Atticus Finch, but just try to maintain the conviction in your sentence from start to finish. It really knocks the air off your powerful speech when you don't round up audibly. Your closing sentence, which may be the main point your listener remembers, should be deliberate, articulate, and complete. Point number 10, work on your self-confidence. Confidence matters a lot when it comes to being articulate. Confidence in yourself helps you speak eloquently. It helps your words flow smoothly and sound more convincing. Moreover, your listener takes clues from your body language. If your body language says that you're confident about what you're saying, they'll find it easier listening and assimilating what you are saying. They can equally tell when you're not confident about what you're saying. Work on your self-confidence. Even if you feel nervous or shy, try not to show it. Try to maintain a positive body language and make sure you establish good eye contact with your listeners. A final point I would like to say is learn from good speakers. We learn by example. Is there someone notable whose eloquence you admire? If so, imitate the person, but of course maintain your originality. Copying is allowed, at least in this regard. Watch how they comport their body posture, their movements, their facial expressions. Learn how they emphasize their points or throw in humor into their speech. Study how they start and finish their sentences with clarity. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Until next time, bye for now.